Hey guys, it's Mike the Wrestling Guy Smith. Um, this video is actually about my Big E thing because I'm really gonna talk about him. I haven't talked about him in a while. So here's the thing, and I'm just like, you know what? I understand that they're trying to do something with Big E for Raw because of the draft and everything, and I get it. But here's the problem: I don't think Big E's gonna be an established WWE champion. He's not. He's not gonna be like Drew. He's not gonna be like Seth. He's not gonna be like anybody. And the problem is, he's not even gonna be like AJ. And here's the thing: I like Big E. I like the guy, but the problem is that WWE doesn't know how to establish their champions. And I thought about it. They're not gonna do anything with them. They're really not, because every time I see them, it's like they break up they put them back together, then they break them up for no apparent reason. What's the point of it? What's the point of them even doing that in the first place? Those dudes are literally, that's why everybody's so tired of them. They do the same thing. It's like you're giving the WWE Championship to every member of New Day. The next year it could be Xavier Woods for the first time. And it's always gonna do that because the thing is, they did Kofi, then they want to do Big E Mania, then they're gonna do Xavier Mania or Woods Mania, which is not gonna work. Because for whatever bloody reason, for whatever idea that they're trying to come up with, they can't think of anything for him. Because they could have made him an established guy when he was with Dolph Ziggler's bodyguard. No, they made the New Day a big thing, and the New Day is supposed to be this big group, and it's not. I'm like, bro, you're a trio tag team. And to a sense, I like Big E, but I'm like, bro, you could have been champion already. You waited on Raw to do it. You could have did it at WrestleMania. That would have been a bigger shock. To do it at WrestleMania, to do it with the granddaddy of all pay-per-views. Do it over there. No, y'all got on Raw and did it. Why would you do it on Raw and you already knew what was gonna happen? Because the thing is, they're not doing nothing with them. They're bringing all these old stories like everybody cares. Nobody cares, and this is the problem, guys. I'm not making a rant video, but my point is this. You got Biggie taking on Bobby. Bobby basically took the belt and basically took that idea that he lost to Biggie. That's a good idea. He got the belt. He finally got it. I get that. But the problem is this is the problem. This is the problem I was gonna say with last night with Raw, because it's like they're bringing these dumb storylines that nobody cares about from 3 years ago. I'm like, this is the thing, I care about Becky that he's the man, but bro, you literally have Bianca Belair on Raw. Then you got Charlotte on SmackDown. You got Becky on Raw. So the funny thing is, even if she does become champion and she becomes double champion, they're literally going to drop the SmackDown belt to her. And Charlotte will be on SmackDown, giving her belt, getting her chance to be over there, trying to make it a women's division. And even if, for whatever reason, because there's not enough women on there, she's going to have nobody to fight. Except for Asuka and maybe Sarray. If they even draft Sarray. And even BFAB, if she gets to that level. Because I'm pretty sure she's not going to get to that level. She's not. And I'm just like, bro. And this is the thing I was going to talk about. Because this is the problem that I have with the WWE. I hate that Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode are literally the dirty dogs. But they got that same, we're here to show the world with the weirdest music ever. Those dudes ain't doing nothing. Literally, those dudes are a waste of a draft pick. Thank you. And the problem, and even if this is the thing, they want Big E to be such a champion that he's never gonna be a real champion, because for some reason WWE's gonna job out the champion. They want to job out. They jobbed out Nikki for nothing. She could have been a great women's champion if they actually gave her the time to do it. No, you let her win the belt. You let her keep it for about 3 days or 2 days or whatever, or 2 weeks or a month, and you jobbed her out. And I get to 100%, and I get the idea that they're trying to do that, and I get the reason why they do that in the first place. But the problem is that every time you think you're going to get something with these people, you don't. And because on top of that, Big E doesn't really know what he wants to do. Because as a champion, he's kind of a good guy at it. But the problem is, he's going to be a jobber. They're going to job him out. Then they're going to put him together with the New Day so they can be a tag team champion again. They're not going to do anything with him. And I'm sorry, guys, but I'm being honest with you. That's all they want to do with Big E. They're just going to build him up just so they can knock him down. That's what they do with every champion. Look at AJ. AJ went from being a freaking like a number one freaking dude in the Royal Rumble, won the belt from John Cena, literally beat John Cena, he won. And then the funny thing is when he had the belt, he thought he was better than everybody. Like I said, he thought he was better than everybody, and look what happened. Dude literally tried to go after Joe. Joe couldn't, and the thing is, he tried to beat Joe. What happens with Joe? What happens with the fact with Joe? Joe didn't even get to become WWE champion because they never thought he was going to do anything with him. Then he gets sidelined with an injury. He's a commentator. Because that's the problem. You gave AJ, you watered him down so he could become champion. You watered him down. I was fine with Dean Ambrose being WWE champion. I was okay with that because Dean Ambrose totally deserved it. And he was itching to become WWE champion. And that was cool. Because he did something that Seth Rollins would never do. He beat him at his own game. And that's the problem with this WWE brand. Because every time we think we're getting somewhere with these people, we never do. Because there's no competition. AEW will just swipe them up. Because they don't need 3 belts to make... They don't need 4 or 5 belts. That's the problem. Why do you think the TNT belt is probably the most high-value belt? Because everybody can get records and days and records and break records and do things. That's the problem. You literally have a brand that's going to make a guy like Big E a jobber in less than a month. He's not going to quit the WWE. Xavier Woods don't want to quit. Not even Kofi. And Kofi's a good guy. And even in my head, to this whole situation, even in my own head, that none of this makes any sense in my mind. And I was thinking about the whole Big E thing. He's never going to be established as a guy. He's going to be a jobber for the next year. Because they're trying to get this 2022 thing to get the new generation in. So when they get the new generation in, the old generation like Sasha Banks, Carmella, and Becky are going to end up leaving. That's why Alexa Bliss took off, because she can't do it anymore. Because the funny thing is, they're not doing anything with her with this Fiend thing. Because ever since the Fiend got fired, what are they really doing? What are they really keeping with her? Why would you even do the gimmick anyway? The literal supernatural gimmick doesn't fit her. It doesn't fit her because without Bray Wyatt, she's just a little supernatural girl. She's like a little supernatural girl with nothing. Nothing but a dumb doll they created for no apparent reason that doesn't move, that doesn't do this, that doesn't do that, that doesn't do this. And for some reason, it's supposed to be fear and it's supposed to be scary. No! The Dark Order was scary. Those guys are supernatural. Karrion Kross is supernatural. Look what happened to him. Karrion Kross ain't gonna be nothing. They're not going to do anything with them because Karrion Kross is literally a joke to them. They can't do nothing with him. But like I said, back to the Big E thing. My point is that Big E this year is going to be a jobber. His career doesn't make no sense because literally his career history, he went from being all he went from being is a mouthpiece, from talking to having so much energy, being an Intercontinental Champion for like the 3rd time, and then now he's WWE Champion. Nobody does anything with him. Because that's the problem. They're not doing nothing with him. He's too big of a... Like, that's the problem. Apollo Crews going heel is probably a good idea, but they're probably going to keep him on SmackDown because he's in the Continental Championship. They want to keep Sami Zayn for something, and Sami Zayn's never going to be anything again because Sami Zayn went from being a literal good guy from NXT, like the hottest Canadian NXT superstar, to nothing. And that's the problem. This dude went from being just a whiny psychopath. Like, bro, there is no conspiracy against you. and Sami Zayn would have been like, "There's no conspiracy." I'm like, "No, bro, you're a good guy. You know what happened to you? You let them get your hooks in you. They keep trying to change you." And the problem is, you could have been a star if you beat John. If you would have beat John for the United States title in 2014, 9 years ago, you probably would have been a bigger star. No, what they did was sent you in NXT, make you win the belt again, sent you back, made you come back, made you go, put you on the shelf next to Finn, because Finn Balor literally could beat the guy if they literally gave him a shot or something. No, because you know why everybody wants a darn Universal title shot? Because Edge is going to come back in some shape or form. Again. Because they're going to probably make this massive four-way WrestleMania 2000 thing where it's going to be Edge, Finn Balor, and Roman Reigns for the Universal title, because Roman's not going to drop the belt to Brock. He's not. And even if they put Brock, and that's what Daniel Bryan left. Because he can't really do it anymore. These WrestleManias don't make no sense because nobody ever profits from these things. Nobody profits from them. You got Liv Morgan and you got Sarah Logan that's not doing nothing over there. You got Alexa. You got literally Ember Moon on NXT. Why is she at NXT now? Why the heck is she over there? She didn't even get drafted again. So literally they just passed her by. That's the point. Nobody, with all these non-compete clauses, so if they ever came back, none of them could come back. Like Curtis Axel, he was a great guy, no personality. Bo Dallas, great guy, personality, but the problem was he was being midget stooge. And then he went from being, he was an NXT champion from being a guy that could have won something if they knew how to book his gimmick, and they wanted to make him, you have to believe. No. The problem was they couldn't book him because he had the charisma, but he didn't have the charisma or the lasting power to stay. Same thing with Damien Sandow. Good charisma guy, bad guy for business. Because he never won. That's why Aaron Stevens, he's on NWA, and he went from Impact to NWA. Because he could have been something. Damien Sandow could have been something if they actually put in the effort to make him something. That's the problem. They couldn't even get him right. And that's the real problem in this whole situation. And then they gave him The Miz. What happens to The Miz? They gave him a stun double to do all his work. The stun double goes out. He didn't do nothing with him. Even in the last the damn ladder match he tried to do for WrestleMania 31, they couldn't figure nothing out. That's the problem with guys like him. Same thing with Mojo Rawley. Mojo Rawley is a good dude, but the problem was they were trying to make him a heel. He wasn't gonna be anything because without Zack Ryder, without Matt Cardona, he wasn't gonna be anything. He wasn't gonna be anything. Without Matt Cardona, which is aka Zack Ryder, he wasn't gonna be anything. He wasn't. You got Heath Slater, who we haven't seen an impact at all. You got Rhino over there, but with Eric Young and Violent by Design for a reason. And you got W. Morrissey, which is Big Cass, which he's great at doing it, but the problem with Big Cass was he was a big dude, he was 7 foot tall, couldn't do nothing with him. Could have made him a championship, didn't do nothing with him. That was the problem. That's why nobody remembers Enzo Amore, because if Enzo Amore wasn't a bad guy, It's just that he had he had charisma. He had a good mic. He was a good mouthpiece, but the problem was he had nothing to keep him to stay because they had nothing to do for him. They had nothing for him to be cruiserweight champion. That was it. That was all he could be. He wasn't doing anything. Even with Carmella, they brought Carmella to NXT, and she literally became one from being NXT champion. Didn't do nothing with Carmella. And literally went from nothing. And then the funny thing with like Sasha Banks was part of Team Bad. And the funny thing, it was literally Naomi, Tamina, and Sasha. And I thought that was the greatest thing that they came up with. And then I thought, because now then they brought Paige and then they brought Charlotte and Becky, Charlotte basically made Becky what she was, and she saw the talent in her. Becky knew it, and even Paige knew it, and Paige can't even. That's the problem with Paige. Nobody wants to admit that Paige actually knew what she was talking about. She knew what she was talking about. And like I said, guys, this is my last thing. If you guys see WWE, if you guys ever watch Raw and you see Big E without his title, don't be surprised because he's probably already getting jobbed out by next week. Good night. Too sweet. I bid you adieu. Bye-bye.